Gucci is the most name-dropped luxury fashion brand in hip-hop history. Its name appears in over 22,000 songs. A rapper literally changed his legal name to Gucci Mane. The word Gucci sits in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as slang for good and excellent. Yet in 2024, this cultural titan watched its revenue collapse by 23%, its operating income get slashed in half, and its brand value plummets so hard it dropped 4 spots in global luxury rankings. So what happens when a brand owns the culture but can't get people to swipe their cards? Let's rewind for a second. To understand how Gucci got here, you need to see how absurdly high it climbed. In January 2015, Kering made a move nobody saw coming. They handed the creative keys to a relatively unknown accessories designer named Alessandro Michele. At the time, Gucci pulled in roughly 3.5 billion euros a year. Respectable, sure, but stagnant. The brand felt sterile, safe, forgettable. This was a far cry from the maximalist energy that Tom Ford brought in the 90s, or even Frida Giannini's attempt to modernize the heritage codes during her decade-long tenure through 2015. Michele changed everything. He introduced a maximalist, gender-fluid, romantically chaotic aesthetic that fashion critics either loved or absolutely hated. It did not matter, because the customers went wild. By 2017, Gucci posted a first-quarter revenue increase of 51%, its strongest in 20 years. By 2019, revenue had nearly tripled to 9.7 billion euros. Profits quadrupled. Gucci was not just a luxury brand anymore. It became a cultural movement. That cultural momentum had been building for decades before Michele ever touched a mood board. Gucci's relationship with hip-hop is one of the most fascinating love stories in fashion. Dapper Dan crafted custom Gucci monogram track jackets for Eric B. and Rakim in the 80s. Ghostface Killah and Outkast rapped about Gucci before most luxury houses even acknowledged hip-hop existed. Lil Pump's Gucci Gang mentions the brand 53 times. 53 times. As fashion journalist Callum Gordon put it, part of it is simply linguistic. Those 2 syllables slot into bars more easily than other labels with clunkier names. But it is deeper than that. As Damon Dash once explained, if you go home and you got roaches and 10 people living in an apartment, the only way you can feel some kind of status is what you have on your body. Gucci became aspiration made tangible. So you've got this brand embedded in global culture at a molecular level. Presidents recognized its power. JFK called Aldo Gucci the first Italian ambassador to the United States. Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, Jackie Kennedy, they all wore it. Hip-hop adopted it. The internet turned it into memes. Under Michele, the product matched the energy. Everything clicked. Then, it stopped. November 2022. Kering announced Alessandro Michele was out. After 7 years of creative dominance, the relationship was over. The official line was mutual, amicable, all that corporate speak. But the numbers told a different story. Growth had been slowing. The maximalist wave was receding. Kering needed a reset across its entire portfolio, with sister brands like Saint Laurent and Bottega Veneta also feeling pressure to deliver consistent growth. Enter Sabato De Sarno in January 2023. His mandate was clear: re-establish Gucci's edge, restore brand equity. De Sarno brought a quieter, more refined approach. Clean lines, subtle color palettes, the opposite of Michele's organized chaos. The market responded with a collective shrug. Revenue dropped 6% in 2023. Then the floor fell out in 2024, a 23% annual decline. Revenue crashed back to pandemic-era levels, just above 7 billion euros. It was a stark contrast to Louis Vuitton's estimated more than 20 billion euros. Operating margins cratered from nearly 25% down to 16%. Asia-Pacific sales fell 24%, particularly impacting Chinese consumers who increasingly turned to platforms like Tmall Luxury Pavilion for authenticated resale rather than full-price retail. North America dropped 11%. The only bright spot was Japan, up 9%, largely driven by favorable currency exchange attracting tourists. By February 2025, DeSarno was gone. 2 years. That's all he got. 3 creative directors in 3 years. For a luxury house that's supposed to represent timelessness and heritage, that kind of creative whiplash is devastating. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The problem isn't just creative leadership. It's structural. The entire luxury landscape shifted beneath Gucci's feet. Gen Z, the generation that was supposed to carry luxury into the future, has been pulling back hard. The global luxury customer base shrank by roughly 50 million people over the last 2 years. Young consumers choose experiences over products. They buy vintage instead of retail. They question whether a $2,000 bag actually means anything when everyone on TikTok has a dupe that looks identical from 5 feet away. Meanwhile, Chinese consumers, who account for about 30% of global luxury spending, have slowed down dramatically amid economic uncertainty. Gucci, which rode that Chinese wave harder than almost anyone, felt the pullback more than most. Interestingly, while fashion houses struggled, jewelry segments at companies like Richemont and Cartier showed more resilience, suggesting the luxury market's fragmentation goes deeper than just economic headwinds. Analyst Yanmei Tang from Third Bridge put it bluntly, product desirability is now a bigger problem for Kering than any tariff threat. Bernstein analyst Luca Solca was not much more optimistic. He said the Gucci revival is yet to appear and will likely face a more difficult context as luxury consumer demand softens. So what does Kering do? They make perhaps the boldest hire in recent luxury history. In March 2025, Kering announced Demna as the next creative director of Gucci. Yes, that Demna, the same designer behind Balenciaga's most polarizing moments. He put high fashion on Crocs and sent models down the runway looking like they had been caught in a snowstorm. He was also the man who had to apologize for a deeply troubling Balenciaga ad campaign in late 2022 featuring children with BDSM-themed teddy bears. He acknowledged it was the wrong idea and a bad decision. It's a gamble, a massive one. But when Demna talks about Gucci, something shifts. He said it is the mindset. It is the Gucci-ness of Gucci. He said it was the first time in his life that he felt it was freeing to see that and to think that way. And then this line I keep coming back to. I do not want it to be intellectual. I want Gucci to be a feeling. His debut collection, La Familia, dropped in September 2025. 38 looks. The GG monogram came back with maximalist energy. The bamboo 1947 bag was reproportioned. Horsebit loafers resurfaced. Several looks featured bare skin, an unabashed sensuality that immediately drew comparisons to Tom Ford's legendary run in the 90s, when Ford rescued Gucci from near death with erotically charged Italian glamour. And there are faint signs of life. The third quarter of 2025 showed sequential improvement. Revenue was still down, but the rate of decline slowed. Leather goods gained momentum. North America and Western Europe started trending in the right direction. But Kering is not waiting around for vibes to translate into sales. They are closing up to 80 stores by the end of 2025. They are streamlining wholesale. New Chief Executive Officer Stefano Cantino is restructuring operations, while incoming Kering Chief Executive Officer Luca Di Maio prepares to take the wheel in September. Here is the uncomfortable truth that this whole saga exposes. Cultural relevance and commercial success are not the same thing. They never have been. Gucci's name is tattooed on global culture. It is in the music, in the language, in the collective consciousness. But you cannot deposit cultural cachet. You cannot pay suppliers with song mentions. When the product does not excite, when the creative vision is unclear, when the customer base is shrinking, and the economy is tightening, all that cultural capital just sits there, impressive but inert. The comparison to Hermes is brutal. Hermes can raise prices and customers line up longer. Gucci raises prices and customers walk away. That is the difference between earned desirability and inherited fame. Demna has maybe 18 months to prove this bet was worth it. Tang says the brand needs at least 2 to 3 collections to stabilize. The luxury market is not getting any easier. China is uncertain. Gen Z is skeptical. Competition from Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and Chanel is relentless. But if there is one thing Gucci's 100-year history proves, it is that this brand knows how to come back from the dead. It did it with Tom Ford in the 90s. It did it with Michele in 2015. The pattern is always the same. Crisis, a bold creative bet, then either resurrection or ruin. We are watching that coin flip right now, and honestly, that is what makes this the most compelling story in luxury fashion today.